right, so I wanted to sort of make a guerrilla style off the cuff discussion and talk about the $70 craze and how things have gone up in $70 and how $70 games don't matter to certain gamers, you know, the vocal minority. Before I begin to implode their argument, I need to go back in time to about at least 2 years from now. So that's when they started to make games $70. A lot of people say that the trend started with 2K and their basketball, sports games, you know, football, all that shit. And I would believe them. I don't know if they make football games anymore, but just saying their sports games were $70. And then you see Sony migrate the idea, and that's where some of the ire came in, some of the distraughtness came in with PlayStation, a big company, a big benefactor to a lot of people, coming in and saying, we're gonna do $70 games now, and this is our motto. All of their games are not $70, it's only a select few, so it kind of is mandated down to publisher standard, right? And then once they started doing that, it started catching the eye of a lot of people online saying, this is fucked up, why are you raising prices, etc. Now, it's only natural that when you're in $1 billion atmosphere, an atmosphere where games are still making more money than movies, costing more money than movies, then eventually prices will hike up significantly, like some small, some large, but you know it is there in the cards. Once PlayStation started doing this, that's when we started seeing the Demon Souls remake at $70, and we fast forward later on to the giant massive mess of people complaining and saying The Last of Us Part 1 remake, a 1-for-1 remake, should not be 70 bones. And I thought that was quite funny because the argument then started to not diminish the price, but the overall premise of a 1-for-1 remake existing when people never complained about this before. The idea of a 1-for-1 remake. Shadow of the Colossus, Crash Bandicoot, 1-for-1s have been around for the longest time, but this is the 1-for-1 that got the most smoke. And it started to become into a conspiracy driven train, etc. Never really stayed on the price. And I remember just saying, hey, if I want to get the game, if people want to get the game, then they're more than obligated. If people don't want to buy the game, then vote with your wallet, stay on the sidelines and just see if it flops, etc. Now, after the whole $70 arguments and people, you know, vocal minorities on Twitter, microcosms on Twitter saying people are dumb for $70, and I don't want this like sort of price bestowed upon me, and people started going crazy, right? They didn't notice for the last 2 years that games were $70. So I don't know if they were cavemen and living under a rock during this whole fucking debacle, but they've been doing it. It's already been implemented before your very eyes. So it did not start near The Last of Us Part 1 remake. Let's get that clear first. As we progress further, I started to make videos on this, and I started to talk about the controversies and how the reaction needs to understand that games have been $70 for the past 2 years, and if you don't like the idea of the price and you still want to pick up the game, then PlayStation, they are more modest in dropping down the price in their store compared to someone like Nintendo, where some games in the eShop still stay $60 for roughly about a year or more. If you wait and the demand goes down, then that game will be like 60, 50, 40, 20, you know what I mean? It's just a natural order in how things progress. You just have to wait. Did I say flash forward? Motherfucker. Fast forward into now. where people were making that $70 claim. Oh, $70 is not gonna sell. $70 games is not gonna sell. Bullshit. Because we see that the juggernaut known as Call of Duty, that was $70 on PC. You couldn't get any keys or whatever. Maybe you could get key retailers from a shady site that will pluck out your stomach, your organs, and all those contents, as well as giving you malware on your PC and never giving you a code so you get ripped off. But that's besides the point. I looked at stuff like Green Man Gaming, stuff like that, you know, the discounter keys, and they didn't have any highly discounted keys for Call of Duty, at least on PC. So that means that because that was retail price at $70 on Steam, it ultimately didn't matter if Call of Duty crossed the 800 million mark on sales, and that includes all demographics, Steam, fucking PlayStation, Xbox, etc. People bought that game for $70, right? The main demographic bought that game at launch, and all these boycotts or whatever, it just reminds me of that old meme of the old Modern Warfare, let's boycott so we can get dedicated servers on Steam, and then every singular person is playing it. This is why I say most boycotts are vocal minority bullshit. People just screaming to the fences, and nothing is getting done when it comes to a game they actually want, because supply and demand is real. I can see a game flopping if there's no supply, no demand, no fan base that's simply, you know, okay with the premise, right? I can see that, but if there is a high supply and demand, that shit is going to sell regardless of what your philosophy is on $70 games and how they shouldn't exist, etc. COD already smashed this argument, right? It passed 800 million sold. That's a lot of fucking units sold. That's a lot of fucking money, people. Keep it together, keep it together. Last of Us Part 1, the remake, that was on the charts for the UK. It was top 5, I believe. That means that people bought that game no matter all the smoke and all the slander that came out. Naughty Dog came on top, and what happened was, once again, it showed that $70 remakes have sold. So I think we need to come to a crossroads here. Once again, if you're gonna make all these claims and people aren't gonna buy this and that, sit on the sidelines, wait for the outcome. Don't be an armchair enthusiast and see what happens next. That's how you gauge all situations. That's how you sit there and you're like, okay, we're gonna play this out. We're gonna open the playbook. We're gonna see how this goes. And if it doesn't sell, cool. There still might be a demographic out there that enjoys certain games that didn't really sell to an apex level. I mean, your favorite game, my favorite game, probably never sold well. It still bewilders people when I say that Resident Evil Outbreak File 2 didn't sell as nearly as much as Resident Evil Outbreak File 1. Therefore, it's barely even in the Capcom Platinum list, and I enjoyed the fuck out of both Outbreaks. Like, sales don't dictate your personal enjoyment, it's just how good it is for the company. So I can enjoy a game if it sold terribly. I can enjoy a game if it sells well. I just think that all of these outlandish predictions based on my personal philosophy, air quotes, as people say, my personal beliefs as to what should succeed or fail, is never dictated on a vocal minority. Therefore, this is why $70 games, as long as there is a supply and demand, as long as people want these games, they want to experience these games, they're gonna pay the price. I mean, fucking hell, dude, when the Resident Evil 4 remake, the entire collector's edition came out, that was like supposed to be for $250. People had the money, they flaunted the money, they put that shit on the table, and it completely outsold in fucking GameStop retail stores. people are gonna buy what they want, and we basically, you know, people can complain about other people's wallets and pocket watch and all that dumb shit, but it's nothing they could do about it if the folks want it. Supply and demand. And I don't think that buying a game makes you dumb. If you enjoy entertainment, go ahead, do what you want. If you don't enjoy entertainment, find your thrills somewhere else in a subgenre that you enjoy, or a subgenre that you like to play, instead of worrying about, oh man, ooh, I got my fucking jockeys out at night. Oh, I got my fucking crusty masturbating hands ready to see if this game failed or not. Oh god, like, people literally sit there and they wait until that final verdict, and then when they're proven wrong, they explode in the moon and get mad at other people simply because they're going out and having a good time. It's no time for that anymore. Like, we have to just simply move on, take the fucking licks. You know, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Like DMC, I keep using the DMC reboot as a catalyst, but that's one game I majorly didn't like. A lot of folks did. They enjoyed it, they had their fun, cool. And I went back to that game, I had some introspective, and I'm like, you know, this is not so bad, although I will admit that DMC 5 is the superior game, but this isn't that bad. You know, have some introspective, wait and see what happens, and if something you don't like succeeds, then fucking move on. Like, it's just that simple. We cannot play armchair conspiracy theorists, because there's gonna be that time where that person is wrong, and then at that point you have egg on the face, and what are you gonna do? You can't do anything. It's a success. So that's what I wanted to say about the whole $70 debacle, the $70 argument. $70 games aren't gonna sell, this shit ain't gonna get over, but it's been getting over for almost 3 years, and it's just the way of the world now. I know games are an expensive hobby, and I know some people aren't fortunate enough to get $70 games every month. I understand that, but you know, even with the high price, there are people who don't stop being gamers just because something is high, you know what I mean? There's always people who emulate, there's always folks who will go out of their way to wait for sales, there's always people that will play retro games that they had for like the past 20 years, and they don't want to conform to anything that's new right now, so they'll stick to like PS2, PS3, PS1, etc. And there's an entire breed of these people that do exist. It's not always the modern way that's going to work for some people, and I get that, but again, when we see the optics, when we see the numbers, we have to know the difference between a large majority and a vocal minority. That's what people forget, and there's always going to be differing types of demographics down the line for a mainstream popular sequelitis IP. Like, sequels are just going to do bank if they are well presented, well packaged, and they increase and enhance all the features from the original. That's just the way of the world. Until then, you know what I mean? This is Renegade Operative signing off, and it's been a steady argument with this topic, but I wanted to add in my 2 cents. I believe there was some stupidity behind it as well, because I just see people going off the drones, man, and they have no idea what they're talking about, no fucking clue about any of these optics and popularity and researching this stuff, because it's wild when you see how popular The Last of Us is. It's wild when you see how popular all of this stuff is, and you know it's going to get over. Like, there's no utter reason why someone wouldn't think that a $70 game like COD wouldn't take off, because people will buy Call of Duty games regardless each and every single year. I'm talking, it's not even a passing thought, it's just like breathing. So we knew that this argument was gonna get debunked sooner or later. Unfortunately, For some people, they had to wait until later because they are blind and oblivious to the idea. But once again, it's just the way things are going. And like I said, there are going to be games that are going to be on sale eventually. If it's basically a hot commodity, then it's not going to be on sale anytime soon. But hey, some people, they are patient men and women, patient boys and little girls, and they're gonna find their way to enjoy their gaming experience. So tell me what you think of this whole debate, and did you really believe the argument of the $70 games would not land? I personally didn't, in my opinion. Like I said, when gaming went up to 50, it was like 50 and then 60 between like PS2 and PS4. People complained about it, but they still played those games. They still bought those heavy-hitting exclusives that people had to offer, and I think it's just gonna keep on being an ascending trend. Don't get surprised if you see games become $80. But again, once the message is clear, once people decide, hey, the output is not enough, I don't think there's gonna be like another crash per se, but I do think there's going to be those that stick to modern gaming and stick to classic gaming, and they'll put their line in the sand. But ultimately, the majority vote matters over this whole topic and debate. So I can't even say it's gonna go either way because we just never know what the future will hold. But I think video games are still gonna be popular in the next few years. So there is that more demand, more heavy-hitting exclusives, and things that people actually want. Once those come on the table, then it's the end game right there. We're gonna see what happens once those sales come out, and we're gonna see what happens when we sit back and observe and see how everything unfolds. Until then, hopefully you guys really enjoyed this sort of open discussion on this topic, because man, Twitter ain't a good place to have it, and I'll tell you that right as a fact. Until then, I will see you guys next time. I'm Renegade Operative. Like, share, subscribe if you really enjoyed what I had to say, this little rant, discussion, etc. Let me know in the comment section below how you feel. Also, PS, it's time to end this dumb shit argument of, oh, people buy games that I don't like, that person is dumb, that person's an idiot. The value of $1 is relative to the observer, motherfucker, and if you don't like it, you're just a right dickhead, and you can't stand the fact that I got this cash, this disposable income. I put that money down on the table, you can't do nothing about it. Fucking strip club of hoes, cash just flying all over the place. I bet you wish you had this money, bitch. Like sometimes you gotta stun on them. If you stun on them, they get more and more angry. But seriously, the value of $1 is relative to the observer. It's always going to be like that. It's always going to stay like that. There's going to be people out there buying iPhones like nothing. $2,000, nothing, motherfucker. Like, it's literally nothing you can really do about it but just say, cool, I hope you're happy, I hope you have a good life, all that stuff. Personally, it's not my cup of tea. There you go. It's just that easy to keep it relatively balanced without being an asshole about someone's wallet. Simple as that. So until then, you know, I'm gonna like what I like. You're gonna like what you like. If you don't like what I like, that's fine, but you're not gonna impede on my yard. I'm going to keep what I like locked in key and still talk about it no matter what, no matter what the price is. If I feel it's justified and I want it, I will get it. If I don't feel it's justified, I will not get it. It's as simple as that. Like, holy shit, the message could not be so clear. Whether the message is sent to the companies is an entirely different story. It's a wait and see affair. And you know, it never goes the way you want. Sometimes, you know, the world doesn't revolve around a singular individual. That's how it works. That's how the cookie crumbles. Like, there's many fans and fan bases out there who aren't even on fucking these social media sites, and you gotta account for them too. You can't just simply say, oh, because my philosophy is the one that should be righteous. You can't account for the ones that's like, I don't even fucking know who this person is. I just like playing video games. I'm a casual gamer and I'm gonna buy this and pick it up with no care in the world. I'm gonna play it for a week. I'm done. On to the next game. Check, please. There you go, that's how it works. Not only am I a realist on this subject, but I think that people should stop undermining deals as well. They will happen. Xbox Game Pass, one of the best deals in gaming, a whole giant plethora of games to play that you probably would spend more money on getting it retail, but instead Xbox Game Pass has this whole library of 100 plus games for only $14 a month, assuming that Papa Phil will not go up on price. Right now, at the time of this recording, Xbox Game Pass is 15 bucks, and I spend 15 bucks on it. I enjoy it. I love xCloud. I love playing all these experiences that I really did not get a chance to play beforehand, and it's really good. It's really one of the best values you can get right now. People be sleeping on that shit. They really fucking do. And right now, I'm going to praise that to the high sun. If you want to get in on a rental service and like not pay that much, then I would recommend Xbox Game Pass. But until then, I'm Renegade Operative. I'm finally signing off. I'm finally getting out of here. You great people, have a great day. See you later.